So, we're talking about Luxcon 2022. Why are we talking about Luxcon 2022 and about Eurocon? How did we get here? Where did Luxcon start for us? Does anybody remember anything?
In a land
A long time ago, in a land.
The year was... What year was it?
It was 2013 that I remember, where we put on the tabletop day event, right?
Yeah, I wasn't there at
you
the
weren't
time.
there?
No.
Oh, you weren't there. Okay.
Came a year later.
Anyway, yes, so we as the Science Fiction and Fantasy Society, have existed since 1995. Back then, as a Magic the Gathering fan club, players club, to rent some spaces, playing role-playing games, putting on live role-playing games, participating in medieval festivals, that sort of stuff for the longest time. And then as people came back from university and had experience with different clubs at university, the name changed to the Science Fiction and Fantasy Society Luxembourg, which was really what it had become 2 weeks after its creation. Then we basically tried to get as many science fiction and fantasy fans on board as we could possibly do.
And you did very well at that time.
Yes, I think we managed to get a lot of people on board. We managed to get everybody's friends and family to join the team, and eventually we got to the point where, okay, how are we going to meet more people? How are we going to be able to talk to more people? And that's where we thought, okay, we need an event. We need more than just a monthly meeting where the usual people show up. We need something that draws in the crowds, right?
Yeah. And what was better than a convention? The
Exactly.
big thing.
Exactly.
We don't play small numbers, no. Well, we thought we would play small numbers.
We thought we were playing small numbers, yes. The funny anecdote is that the original documents from 1995 already state that the society would also organize conventions.
Wow.
So back in 1995, there is on black on white on paper, we have a trace that said conventions. I have no idea how we got to that point, because I remember that we drafted the statutes of the association, but I can't remember what we were thinking when we said, oh yeah, conventions, let's just throw that out there. Maybe we read it somewhere, maybe we read Gen Con in one of the, was it called Inquest magazines, or one of those magazines. We thought, oh, conventions, that sounds cool, that's something that fantasy fans do, so let's do that.
Put it in. Yeah, looks good.
Let's try that, yeah. There was an attempt to put together a convention in the mid to late 90s as well. I remember there was a meeting between 3 clubs. It was back then the Magic Association Luxembourg, it was the Star Trek fan club, and it was the role-playing club here in Luxembourg, who got together and who did not really see the same thing in a convention, and so that effort never really went anywhere. And so 2013, tabletop event, everybody, or a lot of people at the monthly meetings liked playing games, board games, card games, that sort of stuff. And we got to the point where this 2013 event was really popular. There was a lot of people there, a lot of games were being played, a lot of people, meeting people, new people there. And then that evening, packing things away, I think it was that we sort of turned to each other and went, so...
Yeah, let's go a step further.
Bigger, better,
with
more?
Beer?
Like 50 people instead of 12.
Yeah, let's go with 50 people. How can we get 50 people? Let's try that.
Can we manage 50 people?
Yes, can we manage 50 people? So then, 2013 to 2014, booked a date, booked a space. Back then, Centre Culturel Schwungfabrik in Tétange, because that was right next to where we met for our monthly meetings. And then we turned to finding people that would show up.
Yeah, exactly.
We thought, okay, we need an author there. We need somebody from abroad who's writing science fiction and fantasy. And that's where we found Padder, right? Somebody said, "Oh yes, I know this author from Ireland. He's part of he was part of the Brotherhood Without Banners, the George R. R. Martin fan club. He's an author. He's published. He's from Ireland. Let's bring him over." And we're like, "Okay, yeah, cool. That sounds great. We can get any author. This guy has some books out. That sounds wonderful. That's."
It's a big guest. Oh my gosh!
Exactly, and this was a big deal, so we had an author. A couple of other things we looked at. What else is part of a convention? We needed panels. We were thinking, oh well, we didn't know anybody who could really talk about science fiction or fantasy as such, so we turned to science. Why not science? Because a lot of science fiction fans are also fans of science. And so we found a presenter who was going to be talking about astrophysics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We found people to talk about all kinds of things. We tapped Romain Roll, the former director of Cinenigma, the Luxembourgish Fantastikfestival, who kindly came and gave a presentation on the state of fantastic film during that year. We also got. I remember we got a fan panel together.
A fan panel, yes.
We talked to. There was 4 generations of fans. There was you as the youngest generation. I represented the sort of second stage, and then we had Claude Pfeiffer there.
Yeah.
Who was talking about the late 80s, early 90s Perry Rhodan fandom in Luxembourg and in nearby Germany. And we had Lucien Schilling. Lucien Schilling there, who had contacted us in the run-up to Luxcon saying, "Oh, this is not the first Luxcon," and sent us photos of the first Luxcon, which was an offshoot of the SARCon, the German Saarland science fiction convention that was happening at that point, and that showed a bunch of young white men in the late 70s, I think, in the basement of a pizzeria, trading fanzines, talking to each other about fandom, probably swapping stories, that sort of stuff. So we had these sort of 4 generations of fans there, and I think there's a lot more fan archaeology to be done in Luxembourg, because I'm still waiting to find out more about this mythical science fiction and fantasy store that apparently existed in Luxembourg City. Now, I remember meeting the owner at some point, but I never managed to get his name or to get any more details out of him. So I have been asking.
That's really secret society.
That's really secret society. Maybe it was in Rue de la Loge or something like that.
Ooh.
Very mysterious, right? So yeah, we put a program together. Yeah. We found authors from Luxembourg, like Claude Pfeiffer, and we found authors from abroad that would come to the convention as well. We found some people that would sell merchandise there. We bumped into Robert Vogel.
Yes.
Who's clearly a lucky pick, because we tapped right into the center of German fandom at that point, because he goes to conventions regularly, he gives presentations. He used to write for German science fiction magazines as well. He visited the set of Stargate in Vancouver, for example. So we had an in. Send me your flyers, I will take them to other conventions. And then we were contacted by other associations as well, like the German Science Fiction Club, Science Fiction Club Deutschland, who also announced themselves. Everything sort of rolled from there. Some authors came in as well.
Fan clubs, we had lots of fan clubs at
there were some fan clubs, not as much as now, because clearly a lot of them have shot out of the ground after Luxcon as well. But there were some clubs as well.
Illustrators like Andy Jenen,
Andy
the
Jenen
man
was there.
that never left.
Yes,
still
there's
sitting over there.
that famous photo of everything is cleared out and Andy is still sitting there, still sort of doodling into comic books.
Pile of comic books next to him. Not
and then eventually we sort of got to the point where we said, okay, how many tickets are we going to print? How many tickets do we need to sell on the weekend? And that's where we got to this number of, hey, 500 people, that would be really cool, because that would probably be like 10 times of what we've seen so far. And
surprise.
does anybody want to tell the rest of that story?
It was much more. It was so much more.
Yeah, it was kind of like that Kevin Costner movie, right? It was like, build it and they will come.
It was so fantastic.
1,200 people showed up?
It was 1,370 something, yes.
Yeah.
So out of the original 500 people, I remember high-fiving a couple of people a Saturday evening, saying, we've crossed the 800 already just on Saturday, and then Sunday, 700 on the Saturday, and then Sunday, the other 800 showed up or something like that.
Oh, we were so proud.
But it was only the number of people that showed up. Also, we talked about it earlier. The people coming in cosplay to the convention.
It was so wonderful.
Blew me away. I thought, okay, there will be those.
There might be.
There might be a few people coming in a cosplay, and someone posted a picture of the cosplayers from 2014, and I was like, there were a lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah, but the very first day, the very first people who came to the convention were like, is it okay to put on a costume?
Yes.
Yes, why not? Of course, please do. Well, I'm coming back, I'm going to get my costume, it's in the car. Okay, do it. And it was
there was also the couple who asked, can we wear costumes here? Is that okay? On the Saturday, and then came back in full regalia on Sunday.
It was so wonderful.
Yeah, and I told the story earlier in the cosplay competition where I walked around the convention, and these two people were dressed as Marty McFly and Doc Brown from Back to the Future. I thought, oh, cool. There must be some German people because, cosplay Luxembourg, not much happens there. And it turns out they were just from Chifflange, which is the next town over from Tétange. And I was like, oh, okay, good. And then more and more, of course, showed up, and it was like, oh, that's a cool costume, that's a cool costume, that's a cool costume. So, people seem to get right off the bat that, yes, cosplay and conventions go hand in hand. Of course, nerd shirts all over the place, and if you didn't have your nerd shirt when you got there, you probably bought some when you were there.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was a very nice first experience for such a convention for us. It was
absolutely
a really good start.
I think everybody, not just us, but I think the Luxembourg in general was really astonished by it, because I remember the reaction in the press was also, okay, this is a thing. Let's see what's going on with that.
I think we were also lucky that we started that in the mid-2010s.
Yeah, of course,
Because fantasy and science fiction were growing into popular culture at that point, and still is.
Game of Thrones, Marvel movies, that sort of stuff. I mean, you can pinpoint the start of the popularization of science fiction and fantasy culture to the late 90s. 99, you get a new Star Wars. You get the Matrix movie, the first Matrix movie. Some say the only Matrix movie. And then you get the first serious comic book adaptation with Spider-Man in 2001. You get the Lord of the Rings movies. You get the Harry Potter movies. And then Marvel picks it up and just runs with comic book movies. From that, we get Game of Thrones, which is the first big sci-fi fantasy television show. Now, of course, there's many more. Marvel has gone into those. DC has gone into those as well. HBO, the BBC, and all the other television stations have basically decided that, oh yeah, this is a good thing. German television stations haven't caught up to that yet, but apparently there's something happening there at some point.
Maybe
and
soon.
If not there, then it's going to happen on Netflix.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you're right in saying that was the point where the plums were ripe for the picking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was cool to be a nerd at that time.
Well, it was always cool to be a nerd.
Yeah,
it was just
course,
that you were
but
not understood.
Mainstream people didn't
Because
catch up.
I remember a long time ago going to Håkon Knödler, wearing a comic book T-shirt and getting the question, what the heck is that?
Oh my God.
Just repeatedly. It's like, oh, this is a comic book T-shirt,
No? No? Okay.
Now nobody would bat an eye at seeing a Flash T-shirt, because let's not forget, Big Bang Theory has also done it
lots
has
of
done
good
a
stuff.
great lot of service, a little bit of disservice to a certain extent, but more service than not to nerd culture, to geek culture, to science fiction and fantasy and horror, right? Yeah, so that was 2014. That was fun. That was tiring, and that was the first time that we all sort of, on the Monday, experienced what con blues is really like. It was like somebody just sort of like
something very different as a normal con goer.
Yeah.
You go into a con, yeah, it was wonderful, I loved it, I missed the next next convention, it will come soon, yeah, wonderful. But being in an organization, oh my God, it was so wonderful, I love you, you're wonderful, I don't know you, but I love you too. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and now everybody sort of knows us, and everybody's like, oh, it's great to see you again. It goes back to that sort of yearly family gathering where people come up to you and you say, hey, I haven't seen you all year since last Luxcon, and it's still like they've never left, right?
Yeah, they just went out, took a new parking ticket, came back, whoa,
I'm
a year's
back.
gone.
It goes back to what we said in the cosplay panel as well, like, if I cosplay something that you recognize or you cosplay the same thing or from the same show, there's an immediate understanding.
Yeah.
So the con family is just one great big family, and if anything goes on, then they're there to help you, they're happy to help, and they're happy to support you as well, right?
Exactly.
So we move on to 2015, and then 16, 17, 18, 19. We outgrew Schwungfabrik in Tétange, of course, because I think in the third year it was up to 3,000.
3,000.
The streets couldn't take it. The building couldn't really take it. The tent could hardly take it. Everything was bursting at the seams, and so we had to look around and see where we could move. And then thankfully the Service National de la Jeunesse offered to do this at Campus Geeseknäpchen, where we found a really nice building to actually run a convention in, because you can spiral up and spiral back down and spiral back up and spiral back down, which is what a lot of people seem to have been doing for the 3 years, 17, 18 and 19. Basically you go in and then you go up the stairs, you go down the stairs, and then you discover something new at every turn, right?
Oh, there was a panel. It's upstairs. Okay. There's a literature program.
Yeah,
it being a circle was very fun to search for some people.
Yes.
Oh, I've seen him going around there, and I'm
quick,
I'll
run
go
the other way.
way.
And then they find a staircase somewhere, and then they've gone upstairs again. Yeah, but those years were really nice as well. A lot of parking nearby, so the parking problem wasn't so much a problem anymore. It was close to the city, so a lot of people showed up. I mean, that first year we sort of bust the 5,000 years, the 5,000 people.
5,000 years later.
5,000 years later. Let's do that in SpongeBob mode. 5,000 years later. So we went across the 5,000 because it was something new. It was in the city. I think a lot of people managed to just sort of walk to the convention, saw that there was something new going on. A lot of families. I mean, we've always had a lot of families coming in, being tourists, having a look around, and then, you know, reliving their youth, parents reliving their youth, parents revisiting the things that they've liked when they were young, showing it off to their kids, the kids becoming fans, training new generations, that sort of stuff. There was a plan behind all this.
Always, master plans and so on.
Excellent. And then 2020 was in the planning stages, was kind of going to happen. Well,
we had hopes. We had hopes.
We had hopes. We had dreams. We had a plan.
We had a plan.
And Corona hit the world.
Then the Fire Nation attacked.
Sorry?
The Fire Nation attacked. Wasn't it the Fire Nation?
Oh, the Fire Nation attacked. Yeah, maybe we're mixing fandoms here a bit. But the world shut down. We were kind of hoping that we might still slip under that sort of ban, but...
was a thing about 2 weeks, like, can we? Is it still okay? Gosh, no.
Is this going to go away in the next 2 weeks?
Do we still have time?
Yeah,
300
it was some kind of planning limbo. Like
54 weeks later.
Shall we print the T-shirts or what's happening?
What about the program? Can we?
I'm hovering over enter.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, still.
But we were not the only ones. Sadly, the whole convention world was struck down.
Yeah.
2020, our friends, and I'll bring it over to Europe now, our friends in Rijeka had to run a convention similar to this. My hat goes off to them, having experienced an online convention now. What those guys did was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We are talking Eurocon here. So, for those of you out there who have been hearing, oh, Eurocon 2022, Luxembourg is going to host a Eurocon. What is Eurocon? Well, scooch closer and let me tell you a story. I'm not an expert on this. I know people who know much more about this, but the essence is that Eurocon was created in 1972. And it was dedicated to bringing fandoms from the Eastern Bloc, from the former communist countries, and from Western Europe together in their passion for science fiction. The first Eurocon was held in '72 in Trieste, which is in Italy, which is right on the border. I mean, Churchill mentioned it in his famous speech. So in Trieste, fans from both sides of the Iron Curtain came together to celebrate science fiction. There was a film program, there were panels like the ones that you've seen today. Maybe we've talked a little bit less about technology and social media and all that stuff, but still people got together to talk about things. There were business meetings of the European Science Fiction Society, if I'm well informed, and people were talking about fandoms, they were talking about literature, kind of like what we're doing right now, but in smaller.
Yeah.
So Eurocon 2022 will also mark 50 years since the first Eurocon. So we've only recently become aware of this. So we have a bit of an extra duty there, 50 years of Eurocons. Anyway, the Eurocons have been happening in different places every year. So it's kind of like the Olympic Games of European science fiction readers. They've been going right and left of the east and west of the Iron Curtain to meet up. Of course, everything has become easier since 1990 when the Iron Curtain fell, and of course everybody, or a lot of people, were much freer to travel. There are a lot of anecdotes about Eurocons, and there is a project in preparation to work on those anecdotes, to get some of those anecdotes on paper and to make sure that they are not forgotten, that they're documented somewhere. So anyway, it was 2015.
Yeah.
During the second Luxcon, when some of the German fans approached us and said, "What you're doing is amazing. You're basically doing a Eurocon here. I mean, we have to do a Eurocon." I said in a panel with our friends from Dreieckcon yesterday that in Luxembourg everything is 20 minutes. Germany is 20 minutes that way. Belgium is 20 minutes that way. France is, well, a lot less minutes that way,
Yeah.
or a lot fewer minutes that way. Sorry, Christian. So we have to run a Eurocon, because if we ran a Luxembourgish Luxcon, that wouldn't really work, because there wouldn't be enough people to come. There wouldn't be enough. There wouldn't be enough authors and cosplayers and all that stuff, so it has to be a regional event. I had been to a Eurocon. My first Eurocon was in 2010. And it was a fantastic experience, fun experience, people from all over Europe. So when they brought that up, they didn't just tell us. The problem is they told the other Europeans. And then the other Europeans were like, "Oh, this is really interesting. So you guys speak 4 languages, eh?" And so we immediately started to become associated with potential Eurocons in the future. So that happened, I said 2016, a couple of us went down to the Eurocon in Barcelona, where we were kindly begged to come into a back room where we met with other convention organizers from all over Europe, and were told, "Okay, so when are you organizing the Eurocon?" So we talked to a lot of people over there, saying, okay, well, we've got a plan here. 17 is set, 18 there's a bid for that, 19, 20, 21, 22, and originally we put our name down for 2020.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we didn't do it in 2020 because that would have been something. 2020 eventually, I said it earlier, was hosted by Rijeka because they also had the European Capital of Culture in Rijeka at that point in time. And so we were like, okay, yes, 2 more years to prepare. We're happy. We're going to do 22. We've got a Luxembourgish Capital of Culture coming up at that point in time. So we'll try to integrate that program as well. And then, the next Eurocons were all about sort of talking about Luxcon and making people aware of what Luxcon is like, what we do, what happens here. Talking about numbers, of course. People were wondering, okay, Luxcon, 5,000 people, what's going on there?
How?
We have to be honest about that. Luxcon is not exclusively a literature convention.
No.
Other Eurocons have been exclusively literature conventions and have therefore been smaller than Luxcons, for example. But a lot of young European fans believe that integrating all media into conventions is the way forward at that point in time. I think that's
Definitely.
basically, that represents our fan experience as well. I mean, all 3 of us read.
Yeah.
All 3 of us play.
Yeah.
All 3 of us watch films.
Yeah.
All 3 of us watch television shows.
Yeah.
So we are multimedia fans. We are not exclusive fans. We are inclusive fans,
Exactly.
right?
That was always the thing for
Yeah,
Luxcon. We were
exactly. I mean,
always
I've
inclusive.
never experienced fandom any other way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just of that generation where the sort of fully integrated sort of Luxcon experience is what's happening there. So yeah, what does that mean for Luxcon, for Eurocon 22? It means that next year's Luxcon will have the title of Eurocon 22. We will be able to host the European Science Fiction Society, who will hold board and business meetings. We will also host the European Science Fiction Awards. And all of the fun things that Eurocons bring with it. Now, sadly, the situation being what it is, we have, let's say, tentative agreements with guests, but it all depends on how things go.
Exactly.
I think most people outside understand what's going on, what's happening there. We've started working on 22 a long time ago, and once tonight is over, our focus will shift to next year and to how that will happen.
After the con is always before the con.
After the con is before the con. Before the con is before the next con.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So there's that. Maybe there's some questions, Luc, that we can already address.
Yes, of course. The Discord chat is bursting with questions and anecdotes from older conventions or from Luxcons.
Nice.
Question was asked early on: are you planning any virtual content next year?
I think, given the experience we've had today, I think we cannot do but include something like that, because it's worked fine. It's worked great. Plus, you can reach people outside much more easily than
all over Europe, all over the world.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I mean, you can catch a discussion or a panel or two, even if you don't have the time to go to the place where it's happening.
Yeah.
It's really convenient having it.
Absolutely.
And people who have problems going somewhere, you reach people from farther away.
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's easier
I think-
accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also for guests.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been able to have all kinds of US guests, UK guests, that haven't really taxed our transportation or accommodation budget this year, because, you know, they pay for their own food and they have to walk from their bedroom to their living room and switch on their computers. So that's quite easy. Much like our fans, though, I must admit, right?
Exactly. But in the end, I think that this year was a wonderful opportunity to see a different side of conventions, a new, more side, and it's a new experience for us too. So why not use that knowledge we earned yesterday, today, and use it for next year?
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
I mean, broadcast some things, bring some people in as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what 22 will bring. Right now,
Exactly.
we're still sort of floating in a bit of a limbo, really, wondering what next year will bring, what the situation will be like next year.
Yeah.
Do we have to do another one of these next year? Or can we have a hybrid where we can have some people on site? And will we have to run around with 2-meter pool noodles on our heads just to make sure that everybody stays far away or far enough away from us? I mean, Panda said earlier that maybe we need to sort of cosplay plexiglass or have a plexiglass labyrinth for everybody to sort of be safe in.
You know those plastic balls?
Those bubbles.
Those football plastic
Oh
balls,
yes,
yeah.
please. It would be so
That
funny.
or the those plastic baubles that the Flaming Lips are doing their concerts in right now.
Yes.
That sort of thing, so you can walk around in a gigantic transparent plastic ball or something like that. So anyway, we're on the ball on that front to see what's possible. But yeah, I think that we can all agree that maybe some virtual should be part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. What else is out there?
Dan, do you plan to place a bid for Worldcon?
Who asked that question?
Guess.
Jörg?
No.
Roger?
Yep.
Get out. Yeah, not right now. I don't see how that could happen. Although, let me tell you this anecdote. It was during Worldcon last year, which was supposed to happen in New Zealand. Was it November? I want to say it was November. Well, no, it wasn't summer because it was going to be a winter Worldcon. And I got chatting to, I think it was the team from the Glasgow bid who are bidding for the 2024 Worldcon to happen in Glasgow. So it'll be nice to have that happen there. If you don't know about that, go to glasgowin2024.com or something like that, or search for that and support the Glasgow bid to be Worldcon because that'll be close by and we can go and see the Worldcon crowd again, see the Hugo Awards being handed out, all that stuff. Right now, no, we're not bidding for that. But oh yeah, I was getting to the point. Sorry. I was talking to the Glasgow crowd at a virtual party, and the talk came to your Eurocon next year. Are you thinking about doing a Worldcon? Because Dublin was the Eurocon a couple of years ago, and then they were the Worldcon. I was saying, well, I don't think we're big enough. I don't think we have a big enough team, although a lot of people come to a Worldcon to help and set it up. I said that although if it would happen, it would probably have to happen on Kirchberg. It would have to happen in Luxembourg. And it would have to happen right next to Rue Hugo Gernsback.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
At that point, the whole party erupted and went, okay, this is the point where if we met in real life, people would start throwing 20s at you. Because, of course, everybody's a fan of Hugo Gernsback in name, if not in his practices. But everybody was very excited to learn that. I mean, we know that Hugo Gernsback is not really the nicest road in Luxembourg. But we also know that Hugo Gernsback is where Hugo Gernsback really would feel at home, between trade and entertainment, between the cinema and Luxembourg. So right there would be, like, where else would a Worldcon be right on Rue Hugo Gernsback? Where else could you have a mailbox set up in, okay, this is addressed to 1 Rue Hugo Gernsback?
Oh yeah, it sounds good, but give us some time.
Yes, we'll need to build the team and get some international connections, and maybe with some support from left, right, and centre, that might be something that we
First
might look
Europe,
into.
afterwards the world.
It's very concerning, given your German roots. Do we have anything else out there?
Yeah, we have some few comments that being in part virtual next year would allow us to get a few bigger names. Perhaps we were talking about how it's difficult to get people from the US here because of flights, accommodations, etc. And then someone asked if people will have to wait until 22 to see more online content on this platform.
What do they mean by that?
They mean by having regular author interviews by Kasia, or your radio show, or playing games here in the channel.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we've sort of kicked off. I think that's something that we can definitely keep an eye on. I mean, why not do author interviews? I mean, we are connected, we know authors. Why not bring them in every now and again? Or why not bring new authors in to present their books via our YouTube channel, stream a Zoom call, for example, out there. Play games. I mean, the pub quiz. What am I doing? Am I just basically saying I'm going to run more pub quizzes during the year?
Yeah, every Saturday.
Every Saturday. Oh, right, nice.
Mark our words. He will do it every Saturday.
But yeah, why not play some games? I mean, we've held regular meetings. Why not use the sort of momentum to keep that going and keep the monthly meetings going, have some extra content on there. I mean, we've created the YouTube channel. We're going to put some of the content that we've generated yesterday and today up on there, and why not generate more stuff on there? As far as the radio show goes, we could put that on there in podcast format maybe, or rethink the format even, put on a different show. During the pub quiz yesterday, there was a call for the public university of science fiction or something like that, to basically do little features on science fiction knowledge. But yeah, keeping or putting the website up and alive and posting some videos on there, little reviews of contemporary things, of older things maybe. I think there are a lot of possibilities there. We cannot, of course, do it alone. If anybody out there feels the need for participate, I think we're more than happy to get that in.
Well, it's the same thing for fans, by fans.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're touching on another question that was asked on Discord, asking, do you have to live in Luxembourg to become a volunteer? No, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. I remember Martin, hello out there, Alquaif, I don't know if he's watching, who volunteered at Luxcon in, I want to say, 18, I think it was. We had Martin show up on the volunteers list. We planned him in, and then at the convention we realized that he had traveled from Poland to Luxembourg to be a volunteer at Luxcon, and I think that's something that maybe not everybody in Luxembourg knows, but if you go to a Worldcon, if you go to a Eurocon, a lot of people who volunteer there do actually travel from all over the globe and then volunteer at the convention. The current Worldcon organizing committees, or the European Worldcon organizing committee, is composed of people who have organized Worldcons in Europe before, who have been part of organizing committees of other Worldcons in the world, and they're doing that not because it's in their country, but because it's Worldcon, because they're fans and they want to be able to bring fans from all over the world together.
That's beautiful.
So it's really this sort of like the model UN idea where everybody works together to get the show done.
Yeah, just contact us on social media or go to our website. Under contacts, there's a volunteer application. Just drop us a message and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for everything else as well. If you want to basically join the team, if you want to help put Luxcon together, if you want to become a member of SFFS or anything like that, just get in touch with us. We're happy to build the team a little bit larger. I mean, if there are more shoulders, then you can,
lift more
spread the weight across those shoulders, and it makes it easier for everybody.
Yeah. New ideas are always welcome. New people are always welcome.
Exactly, yes. We've had many an occasion where somebody said, "Oh, you're missing this at Luxcon," and we said, "Well, great. Yeah. Why don't you suggest something? We're happy to give you the stage, the space, the time to do it." And then people go, "Oh, it's that easy? Okay, well, let's get going."
Just tell us. give us a little time to organize it.
Yes,
but
don't do it. Don't do it today. Can I
don't
do
come
something
now
at 7?
and tell me you want to do it in 10 minutes. That would work, but tomorrow maybe? Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on, so someone asked if there are plans for letting people do their own presentations about random stuff. I mean, I think it's a throwback to the fan zone we did, and I think we'll continue that tradition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having
I mean,
a
we
room where
have a
people can meet and
we have a call for program. We have a call for everything at Luxcons, and if anybody has an idea about anything, workshops, presentations, roundtables, anything like that, you can always approach us. You can always let us know about this, what you want to do, and we're happy to provide the time and space for you to do that. We're happy to promote it as well. It makes Luxcon better, basically.
Exactly. Always, also with the workshops, we had so many workshops over the years. There were always people in those workshops. It was really nice. It was really fun. Sadly, this year we can't do it.
Yeah.
Pandemic and so, but it's always fun. Why not?
yeah. Jörg has also posted a little information saying that posting a link about that history of Eurocon you were talking about. Because there was mention of it in an issue of a fanzine, and he put the link in the Discord, so check it out.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the latest issue of Counterclock.
Exactly.
It's Counterclock, yeah. Wolf van Witting's
issue 37.
Yep.
And then there was a question if we have a main theme for the Eurocon plan.
A main theme. Yeah, that's something that has been floating around, but we haven't really sort of.
No.
We've been busy with this year and haven't really had
The chance to.
yes,
to
maybe
think about
something post-pandemic, hopefully, or something like that. After the apocalypse.
Live life.
But we'll definitely announce more as far as programming goes, as far as all these things go. We have a poster in preparation.
Ooh, yeah.
So that'll be launching in the next 2 months or so, if the artist informed us correctly. So we will be posting more information about Luxcon 2022 as the year progresses. So bear with us. Normally we would have more information already, but the situation is the situation that it is.
Another point that has been raised by Constanze from Glasgow in 2024.
Hello, Constanze.
Assuming we will be able to come visit next year, can you say something about the venue, the accommodations, transport issues, etc.?
What issues? Public transportation is free. Ask Dave Lally all about that. I know that David Lally is a personality in European fandom, and he's very excited to come to Luxembourg because Luxembourgish public transport is free. He was very excited to come to the Eurocon in Dortmund because of the Wuppertal monorail, the hanging monorail.
That's cool.
Details apart, as far as the location goes, I mean, we can say that we will be in the Centre Culturel Op der Schmelz in Dudelange for that one.
In the south of our wonderful country.
Exactly, in the south of Luxembourg. It's about a steel mill away from France, because it's literally on the border. We will make that happen from the 7th to the 10th of April next year. As far as partnerships go, we have partnered with the city of Dudelange, we are partnered with Centre Culturel Op der Schmelz, we are partnered with the National Audiovisual Center, who is also in that same building, and we are also partnered with the regional music school that is also in that building. So those 4 partners are already on board. We are also part of the official program of the ASH 2022 European City of Culture. That means that we will be featured along with their promotions. There is some budget, some money that will flow our way as far as that goes, so we can do bigger, better things on that front. As far as transport goes, there is a railway line running right past it. Dudelange is connected to the European highway network without too much trouble. Luxembourg Airport has served us very well to get guests in and to get other fans in over the years. It's in the heart of Europe. I mean, if you know where Luxembourg lies, you know that we are right smack dab in the middle of all kinds of transportation hubs. And then as far as accommodation goes, we will be publishing details on that, but there are a couple of hotels in the area. It's not as ideally situated as other cities and other Eurocons or Worldcons that we have been able to visit in the past. But we will be providing accommodation and transportation solutions when we get there. We will probably have shuttle buses running back and forth between some accommodations and the actual venue of the convention. Did that cover it? Did that cover Constance's question?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, I think we did the sort of the round of it. If there are any sponsors out there who might want to sponsor us next year, you know, get in touch. We're happy to put your names forward. We've worked with sponsors before, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again.
What about membership for Eurocon 2022?
Information forthcoming, but it's looking like it might be around the €20 mark for the weekend. We have to figure out the costs, particularly of the first day of the convention.
I sadly have to leave you two.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a presentation.
Oh,
waiting
you're going
for
to
me.
be talking about
Yeah.
eating people?
Yeah, and I love to eat people.
All right. Yes,
yeah.
so we're going to thank Sandy for joining us here, and we're
See you
going to wish
later.
her the best of luck in her panel, in her presentation about cannibalism in fantasy that she's doing on Channel 2 right here. Are there any other questions that we can touch on quickly?
But Jörg is asking, where's the registration page, Gerard?
Who has the registration page?
But probably for next Luxcon.
For the next Luxcon?
Yeah.
Like for who, to become members? Or to get a membership? To register for next Luxcon?
Yeah, or to register like vendor, presenter, etc.
Oh yeah, well that again is forthcoming. We will have more information for people.
I'll talk to the webmaster about it.
Yeah, we'll talk to the webmaster about that, putting that online, and we'll talk to Dave about putting the Google or Microsoft form in shape for that one. Luc, do you want to move to this chair? Makes framing a little bit easy, maybe. Yeah, I think it's April 7th to 10th, right? That's something that we...
The membership question came
The
back.
membership question, just teasing. Yeah, Jörg is teasing me about the memberships. We'll get there. And then there's a question from Gregor. Are there any guests of honor that have confirmed, and do you plan to install a fan guest of honor? No and yes. We've talked to a guest of honor. Sadly, they had to desist. They had to say, sorry, I'm not going to say yes at this point in time. They are happy to join us at a later point when things are a little bit more predictable and when things are a little bit more certain. Right now, we are in talks with some names that you will recognize, shall we say. And we hope that we can make that work. And again, I think that with the pandemic situation evolving in a direction where it's safer for people to travel and to meet up again, I think we're going to get a lot more information, a lot more things for nailed down, shall we say?
Apparently, Pella is confirmed.
Yes. Yes, of course. We will be happy to have Pader back for an in-person Luxcon in 22. It would not be a Luxcon without Pader, really. He's been there since 2014. He's coming back. He's hopefully coming back in 22, and we will have some fries for him. Yes.
You think he told his wife that he's going to be there this time?
Maybe he'll tell. Yeah, maybe he'll tell his partner about coming to Luxcon as well. Ask Pader for the story on that one.
Yeah, please do.